For decades, Gloria Gaither stood beside her husband, Bill Gaither, not just as his partner in life but as a foundational force in the world of gospel music. Today, her voice, once strong and clear with purpose, has grown soft and reflective. With heartfelt vulnerability, Gloria is beginning to say goodbye, only to the bright lights of the stage, but, perhaps, to an entire era. Fans across the globe are now facing the possibility that one of gospel music's most cherished voices may soon be stepping away for good. But what has led to this emotional crossroads? And why is this moment being felt so deeply by those who have followed the Gaithers' journey for so many years? Gloria Gaither is far more than a name attached to Christian music royalty. She has long been the creative soul behind some of the most beloved gospel hymns ever written. Her work as a lyricist, author, and quiet theological thinker has left a lasting impression on millions of lives around the world. At 82, Gloria recently appeared in a heartfelt video published by the Gaither Music Group, though she didn't announce a formal retirement. Her message carried the weight of a spiritual transition. Sometimes, she said softly, you feel that gentle nudge, a quiet calling to step into a slower rhythm, to listen more than speak. The emotion in her voice was unmistakable, and her words left fans with a sense that an era may be coming to a graceful end, rather than taking the stage at packed arenas or participating in large ministry events. Gloria shared that she now feels drawn to a more personal path, one filled with reflection, family, and peace. This marks a dramatic shift for someone who has spent decades pouring her heart into worship tours, songwriting, and public ministry. But even in her silence, her legacy continues to speak volumes. Long before she became a guiding voice in gospel music, Gloria was simply Gloria Sokola, bright and curious young woman. Born in Michigan on March 4, 1942, raised in a household anchored in Christian values, education, and the arts, she grew up with a deep love for literature and music. Even in her earliest years, she demonstrated a gift for words. Poetry, journaling, and storytelling came naturally, and her faith was the compass that guided her creativity. After graduating from high school, Gloria enrolled at Anderson University in Indiana, a Christian college where she majored in English. There, she not only deepened her academic knowledge but also solidified her spiritual worldview. During her time at the university, she met a young music teacher named Bill Gaither. What began as a shared passion for teaching and faith quickly blossomed into something more. In 1962, the two were married, embarking on a journey that would forever transform the world of Christian music. In the early days of their marriage, Gloria continued to teach high school English, while Bill pursued his growing interest in gospel music. He had already formed a trio with his siblings, but soon, Gloria's poetic gifts began to make their way into the lyrics of their songs. What Bill built with melody, Gloria strengthened with words. Her talent for expressing complex spiritual emotions in plain language became a signature element of their music. One of the most defining moments of their songwriting journey came during a period of personal and societal turmoil. In the late 1960s, the Gaithers were expecting their third child amid national unrest, the Vietnam War, civil rights protests, and a cultural shift that challenged traditional Christian values. Bill was worn down by constant touring, and Gloria, heavily pregnant, was grappling with anxiety and uncertainty about the future. It was in this moment of fear and vulnerability that Gloria found strength through faith. One quiet evening, overwhelmed by the world's chaos, she felt a deep spiritual peace. Out of that sacred stillness came the lyrics to Because He Lives, written not in comfort, but in crisis. The song became a beacon of hope for countless believers. When it was released in 1971, it resonated across the world not simply as a hymn, but as a declaration of trust in God amid life's darkest moments. The impact was immediate and profound. With that single song, Gloria moved from being a background lyricist to a respected theological voice in her own right. She was no longer just a supporting partner. She had become a central figure in Christian music, known for her lyrical depth and emotional intelligence. But rather than seek the spotlight, she remained humble, choosing instead to continue writing songs, devotionals, and books that spoke to the soul. Over the years, she co-wrote over 700 songs, many of which became standards in churches around the world. What set Gloria's work apart wasn't just her command of language, it was her authenticity. She wrote not from a place of perfection, but from the trenches of everyday life. Her lyrics reflected the joys and struggles of being a mother, a wife, a believer. They offered comfort in sorrow and clarity in confusion. She became a voice for those who couldn't find the words to express their faith. And in doing so, she helped generations feel seen, heard, and loved. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, as the Gaither vocal band rose to national prominence and the Homecoming series took off, Gloria continued to serve as the quiet strength behind the scenes. Though she rarely took center stage, her presence was everywhere in the lyrics sung, in the prayers shared, and in the hearts of those touched by her words. She became a mentor to young Christian artists, a speaker at women's conferences, and a respected thinker in a field often dominated by louder voices. Her calm demeanor, paired with intellectual and spiritual depth, made her a rare and invaluable presence in gospel music. Gloria didn't just write hymns, she wrote the soundtrack to countless spiritual journeys. Her songs were filled with truth, not platitudes. They acknowledged pain but pointed to redemption. And now, as she gently steps away from public life, fans are reflecting on all she has given and the impact she will leave behind. Looking back, Gloria's influence on Christian music can't be measured simply by the number of songs she wrote or albums sold. Her real legacy lies in the lives changed, the souls comforted, and the faith renewed through her work. From a teacher with a love for poetry to one of the most influential women in gospel history, her story is one of grace, purpose, and unwavering belief. As Gloria enters what she calls a quieter season, she does so with the same humility and faith that shaped her life's work. The world may hear less of her voice in the years to come, but her words, penned in hope and sung in worship, will echo for generations. And in that, she will never truly say goodbye. When people talk about gospel music's golden voices, they often mention powerful singers and legendary performers. But behind many of those songs lies the pen of Gloria Gaither, a woman whose influence goes far beyond melodies and harmonies. Gloria didn't just craft catchy choruses. She told stories. With profound emotional depth, her lyrics took listeners on powerful spiritual journeys, from sorrow to joy, from doubt to belief, and from the shadows of despair into the light of hope. Each song felt like a chapter from a lived life, steeped in scripture but always grounded in real-world experience. Gloria had a way of making theology feel personal, writing in a language that comforted the brokenhearted and challenged the comfortable. But Gloria's contribution wasn't limited to music. She stood as a quiet revolutionary in the Christian community, a woman who held her ground at a time when few women were given space to lead, teach, or write openly in religious circles. She wasn't on stage for glamour or attention. Gloria was never the glittery performer or the background support to a husband's ministry. She was a voice, thoughtful, intellectual, deeply grounded in her faith. Gloria authored a wide collection of devotionals, journals, and essays that offered honest reflections on life, faith, and womanhood. Her words gave courage to Christian women navigating the often overwhelming roles of motherhood, ministry, and identity. She spoke with authenticity, never pretending to have it all figured out, but always pointing readers toward God. Gloria's impact also reached future generations. She poured her time and heart into education and mentoring, founding the Gaither Family Resource Center and helping shape the Gaither Homecoming Bible. Many young gospel musicians, especially women, found inspiration in her example. She wasn't just a songwriter, she was a spiritual mentor, opening doors for others with compassion and conviction. In an age obsessed with celebrity culture, Gloria focused on meaning. She once said, "We never set out to be stars. We set out to be faithful." That commitment to faithfulness over fame became the foundation of her legacy. Her writing was never for show. It came from a life lived in the trenches of real faith. Gloria's songs were not just poetic expressions, they were testimonies, born out of suffering, healing, and grace. Friends often say she had a calming presence. She didn't speak to fill silence, she spoke to bring peace. In boardrooms and Bible studies, she was the one who asked thoughtful questions. During moments of crisis, she provided the stillness others needed. As a wife, she was a fierce companion to Bill Gaither. Their 6-decade-long marriage was more than a partnership in music. It was a journey of two souls deeply committed to one another. Together, they balanced the demands of ministry, music, and family, weathering both public expectations and personal trials. As a mother, Gloria was gentle, present, and intentional. Despite the demands of a busy life, she made time for her children, nurturing them with grace and guiding them with wisdom. She wrote songs late into the night. Only after the kids had gone to bed, she took long walks and had longer talks, using everyday moments to teach deep life lessons. Her children recall not just a mother who believed in Jesus, but one who lived out compassion, integrity, and humility every single day. Gloria was also a mentor and friend to many outside her family. Writers, theologians, artists, and young ministers often turned to her for guidance. She had a unique gift, not just for spotting talent, but for calling it forth gently and encouragingly. She helped others discover their calling by simply believing in them when they didn't believe in themselves. Her faith was deep, yet never rigid. She honored traditional hymns and biblical truth, but wasn't afraid to ask difficult questions or explore complexity. For Gloria, faith was a living, breathing relationship, one that could withstand doubt, change, and growth. Even now, as Gloria steps back from the spotlight, her influence remains powerful. She leaves behind more than just a catalog of classic songs. She leaves a model of grace, strength, and unwavering faith. Her lyrics will continue to echo in churches, hospital rooms, funerals, weddings, and family gatherings for generations. But perhaps more enduring than her songs is the way she lived her life, not for fame, but for purpose. She taught us that true greatness lies in serving others, that the heart of ministry is found not on stage, but in everyday kindness and devotion. Among all her public accomplishments, Gloria's most cherished ministry was always her home. Her family came first, always. Behind the books, the music and the concerts was a woman devoted to her role as a wife and mother. The Gaither home was a sanctuary of faith, laughter, and open conversation. She and Bill raised 3 children, Suzanne, Amy, and Benjamin, each shaped in unique ways by their parents' ministry and their mother's tender wisdom. Suzanne, the eldest, became an integral part of the Gaither organization, often working behind the scenes to manage the business and contribute to the music. She co-wrote many songs with her mother, bringing a fresh perspective while upholding the family's mission. Amy, their middle child, followed a more artistic and literary path, a poet and teacher whose love for language clearly reflects her mother's legacy. She once shared that their family dinners were full of questions, not just about faith, but about the deeper why behind what they believed. Gloria didn't just want obedient children. She wanted thoughtful ones. Gloria Gaither will always be remembered for her powerful words and sincere faith. But those who knew her best will remember the little things, her quiet strength, her listening ear, her ability to bring calm into chaos. In one of her most beloved songs, she wrote, "God sent his son. They called him Jesus. He came to love, heal, and forgive." It's a fitting reminder of the heart behind her life's work, a message of love, healing, and hope that continues to resonate today. Benjamin Gaither, the youngest of the Gaither children, chose to walk a path quite similar to that of his legendary parents. Inspired by the music that shaped his upbringing, Ben stepped into the world of gospel, not just as a performer, but as a visionary. He co-founded Liveborn Media, a company dedicated to producing heartfelt, faith-driven content, and has worked closely with his parents on many of the cherished homecoming projects. While his style leans toward a more modern and contemporary sound, the values that run through his music are unmistakably rooted in the same pillars that built the Gaither legacy: faith, family, and timeless truth. All 3 of the Gaither children speak with deep affection and admiration when they talk about their mother, Gloria. She wasn't just a mom to them. She was a steady hand, a spiritual teacher, and a silent strength during the most demanding seasons of their lives. They remember how she managed the chaos of touring life with grace, how she'd stay up late to write after they were tucked into bed, and how even the smallest daily moments would become lessons in faith and character. The family didn't take lavish trips, but every moment spent together felt sacred. No matter how busy ministry life became, Gloria always made her children feel like they came first. Lately, Gloria has been gently stepping back from public life, expressing a desire to embrace a slower, quieter pace. The Gaither family has received this news with heartfelt appreciation and emotion. Gloria has always been the calm at the center of their storm, the glue that held the family and ministry together during countless years on the road. Now, as she transitions into a more peaceful season, her children and grandchildren have rallied around her, honoring her wish to focus on rest, reflection, and simple joys. But this is far from a farewell. Her voice and message will continue to echo through the re-releases of cherished albums, archived writings, and books that still offer comfort and wisdom to readers everywhere. In a recent interview, Bill Gaither spoke about Gloria's decision to slow down with a mixture of tenderness and admiration. He described her as someone who has poured herself out completely for over 6 decades serving the church, raising their family, and touching countless lives through her poetry and songs. With emotion in his voice, he said, "She's given the world so much. Maybe now it's time for her to rest, to hold the grandkids, to stroll through the garden, and to simply listen instead of always having to lead. She's earned every moment of that peace." The Gaither grandchildren, now teenagers and young adults, have also opened up about the impact their grandmother has had on their lives. On social media, some have called her their favorite storyteller, the one who always had a journal open and a meaningful tale ready to share. They describe her as gentle, wise, and filled with quiet strength. Her stories weren't just words, they were windows into a deeper faith. Lessons tucked inside metaphors, delivered with a soft smile and kind heart. When Gloria released a simple video message announcing her decision to retreat from public appearances, the response was nothing short of overwhelming. Fans from all over the world flooded YouTube and other platforms with tributes, gratitude, and heartfelt memories. Thousands commented under the video, many recalling how her words and songs guided them through some of life's darkest valleys. One user wrote, "Her lyrics carried me through chemotherapy." Another said, "I first met Christ through the homecoming videos." Gloria's words were always the ones that hit home. Others spoke of family traditions, like playing because he lives at birthdays, funerals, and Sunday dinners. Churches in the U.S. and beyond held special gatherings in her honor. Christian radio stations aired extended segments celebrating her contributions, while longtime fans compiled emotional tribute videos. These weren't just displays of admiration, they were testaments to how deeply personal Gloria Gaither's ministry had become for so many people. She never chased fame or spotlight, but her sincerity made listeners feel seen, heard, and loved. Perhaps what stands out most is that Gloria's influence was never about celebrity. She wasn't just a lyricist, was a friend to the hurting, a voice for the weary, and a reminder that simple faith still had a place in a complicated world. Her songs continue to play in nursing homes, echo in prison chapels, and bring peace to quiet homes where worn-out hymn books and scratched CDs still sit on shelves like sacred relics. Her words are etched into the fabric of Christian life, not just as lyrics, but as lifelines. Now, as the world embraces this new chapter in Gloria Gaither's life, not an end, but a pause, a collective spirit of gratitude fills the air. She hasn't said goodbye. She's simply chosen to embrace a quieter rhythm, to listen more than speak, to rest more than labor. In doing so, she offers one final lesson to us all, that even in stepping back, one can still move hearts forward. And so, as her voice fades from the stage, her presence remains in the songs we hum, the stories we tell, and the faith she so beautifully lived.